Excellent. Okay, so whereabouts are you at the moment?
Right now, I'm in Merritt Island, Florida. I'm on a break from my cruise line. I got to get back to my cruise ship. We leave at 3. So I was like, man, I hope we get this done because I got to get on the shuttle to get back to my crew. Otherwise, my boat's going to leave me.
And what are you doing on the cruise? Are you
I tell
working?
jokes.
Sorry?
I tell jokes. Yeah, I'm working. I'm working. Yeah, I'm
Ah,
working on them. I tell jokes on the cruise ship. So yeah,
fantastic.
yeah, I
Excellent.
make people feel good. That's what I do. The only bad thing about it is, it's a true story, is that I literally this year I did my schedule around MotoGP, so I wouldn't be on the ships when the GP races are going on. So I try to get my schedule to where whenever GP is racing, I'm on land. But next week I had to pick up a week, so I'm gonna miss the actual live event at Catalunya, but I'm gonna watch it when we dock. I go in, I'm on a restaurant, get Wi-Fi, and I sit there for 3 hours and just watch GP.
Uh,
So it's all about priorities, man. I literally went to the schedule and I picked the weeks I want to be on land so I can watch GP.
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So I first met you like probably 3 years ago now, out at like Indy or maybe it was Austin, but it's fantastic to see you at the track, and every time I see you on the grid, I see you in the garage, I see you hanging out with all the superstars of MotoGP. How the hell do you get to do that?
You know what the greatest thing was? The greatest thing to me, honestly, was when I went to Mugello, and I was hanging out with Mark Marquez. This was before he was big time. So I literally was in his garage. I was hugging him, and I was like, I was all over the kid. And the cool thing about that is he kind of remembers that because ever since then he'll stop and say, "Hey," and like that familiarity, and it's kind of cool. I feel like I discovered him basically. So it's like before he got off big time, I knew when he was like in Moto 2 and he was this big. So it's kind of cool, man. So yeah, yeah, that's just like I said, man. That's just my life. I just love it. If I can get that access, I'll do it, man. I love it. You know.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Mark had an interesting weekend last weekend. He he's been struggling with that bike, but gee, he wrestled it up the front there. What did you think of the race?
Man, dude, let me tell you something, man. You know what? The first initial when Rossi went out, you're like, oh man. And then, but you saw Mark coming, and Mark kept coming. Usually Jorge takes off, but Mark caught him, and that's what made the race again because at first initial like, oh man, Rossi's out, and then you saw Mark like just chip away at that lead, and then you say, oh, we got a race. And I tell you what, man, that may have been one of the best weekends ever for MotoGP. Every class was decided by, I mean, literally that much. It was just incredible. But what I thought what he did was incredible. I mean, he went, like he said, he went back to the old Mark. People say what they want about him, love him or hate him. He's the straw that stirs that drink because no matter what's happening, people always want to look on their board and they go, "Where's Marquez?" You know what I mean? And it's the truth. When you're racing, you see that board says, "Okay, Marquez .4, then Marquez .2." You oh shit!
Yeah,
you got a race on your hands, man. So I thought what he did was great. I'm glad he went back to the old Mark. Like he said, and he raced, man. And that's what Mark does, man. I mean, he's just a jerk on the track. He does what it takes to win. So that's what I love about it.
so
So I
what?
thought it was great. I thought he did a great race.
Yeah, look, it was an incredible race, and Vinales getting up on the podium. What do you think of that?
Man, you know what? I honestly, I kind of wanted him to stay with Suzuki just for getting on the podium, but I think Mugello proved that why he's leaving Suzuki because he had troubles on the start and he fell back, and then he does what he always does. He picks people off, but by then it was too late. So I loved it. I love seeing him there, but he's got to go to Yamaha because I mean Yamaha's the best bike on the grid, and honestly, what he does, his time is now. I mean, honestly, I thought he was going to win the Moto 2 championship. But the last 2 weeks of that year, he kind of screwed up. He had his last race, he crashed him, Michelio, and took him out. But I really think, honestly, he got in that podium. His time is now. He's solidified his stance as an alien. I really do. I think so. I mean, he's there. The time is right. He's right for the pickings. You know what I mean? I think
Yeah,
he's great. And my memory serves me correctly, it was him or Elias that got pole last year at Barcelona. So I mean that's going to be his track. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I think every race is going to be even better than Mugello. You
yeah,
watch.
yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I'm heading over on Wednesday, so it'll be a fantastic
Look
experience.
at George. Just rub it in. Why don't you just rub
Yeah.
it in? Seriously, just rub it in.
So those Ducatis had an interesting weekend too, because they look so fast in qualifying, and then come to the race day. I think they both got off to a fairly lumpy start, and but Iannone setting a circuit, speed record. What did you think of that?
Well, he only had that chip on his shoulder anyway. I think in the back of his mind, he thinks he should be the one who's still with Ducati. So in Ducati's home backyard, I think he wanted to just rub their face in it, and he kind of pretty much did. If he would have got off to a better start, he may have won that race, man. He got third as it is, and he was picking them off. So honestly, I really think he still has that kind of like that chip on his shoulder, like I should be the one staying, not Dovey, because my result, even though he's crashed out, I think he thinks he's still. And honestly, to be honest, if I was Ducati, I would have kept him over Dovey because it's easier to tame somebody who's wild than get somebody who's a constant to get them to up their game when they've been in that. Dovey's been in the upper echelon for so long. He's been in GP for so long, and Iannone comes and he's wild. But you can tame somebody wild, but you can't get somebody else to raise their game if they've been in there so long. And so I would have kept Iannone, and I think that's what he felt. So I think whenever he gets a chance to rub their face in it, he's going to do it and show them like it's kind of like, hey, see how you guys screwed up. So I think it's going to be interesting the rest of the year, see what happens. And definitely next year on that Suzuki, he's going to do what it takes to win that. GP is the best it's ever been. We're in the golden age of GP. We don't realize it yet, but we are. You watch what I'm telling you. We got the best young talent it's ever been in the history of GP. And, it's a special time. It really is. And we should be happy that we're witnessing it.
So it's interesting that you say that because, you get the guys who are fighting in the top, probably the top 10, week after week. But then down the back of the grid, you've got 11 bikes that are, from 11 back to 21. And you see some stellar performances down there and, guys like Brad Smith who have sort of struggled this year and he comes good this weekend.
Yeah.
What do you think of all the other riders and what gives them the motivation, do you think, to keep going when, they're just not competitive on the packages?
Well, I think they're racers, man. And so at the heart, the bottom line is they're racers and they want to compete and they're competitive. And I honestly, it's funny you mentioned Brad Smith because I heard that Paul Espargaro is going to sign with KTM this year. So it's going to be him and Bradley again next year. I think they're going to break the news next week. So if he and Bradley are together on a brand new bike, and KTM's going to come running, man. KTM wants to win, so they're not going to be like no offense to Aprilia, they're not going to be like Aprilia. They're going to want to win the first year. So I think it's going to be great. I think I wish they would show more of the people from 10 through 17. I would say those races are great, man. In the back of the grid between Bradley and Espargaro and Laverty's having a good year. So I wish they would show more of those races. If you get the video pass, they do, but I wish they would show more of those races. Those are great races in the back of the grid, man.
Yeah, Laverty
great races.
One of the few riders that's actually managed to score points every race this year.
Yeah, Laverty's doing a great job, and honestly, he's got to be feeling a little bit peeved that they didn't, select him, like maybe to have that factory ride that you got. You know what I mean? But you had to go with Lorenzo. But hey, man, Laverty's producing. He's producing more than Scott Redding is.
Yeah. Well,
unfortunately,
and the other week in Le Mans, the guy managed to bring home a smoking bike, that was just about falling apart.
Yeah,
and he still scored points.
Still score point. Doesn't matter. Bike is smoking or not. As long as you get across that finish line, that's all that matters, man.
Yeah.
And I think it's, like I said, it's the golden age, and I think we're witnessing a great time at GP. Personally, I think, who's the most underrated rider, if you ask me, is Petrucci.
Yeah, well, the crowd loves that guy.
He's great, man. How can you not like Petrucci? Remember last year at Valencia when Valentino was coming through the pack village and he looked back and saw Valet and he scooted over. Did you see that? He let him have that place. I thought it was great, man. So you gotta love Petrucci. He's a funny guy. He races hard. He got that podium in Silverstone. So, man, I think he's one of the most underrated riders. And honestly, I look for him to have a great second half of the year.
So when you go to the races, BT, and you see the fans out in the crowd there, what do you think it is that makes MotoGP you know, as attractive as it is, and makes the fans sort of react the way they do. Do you think it's the racers or the affinity with the bikes, or is it an everyman kind of sport that people can really relate to?
I mean, I think it's a little bit of everything. And first of all, I think people, I mean, there's something about motorcycles that evoke an emotion. I mean, honestly, you see it. Well, I see it when I ride my bike and I'm at a stoplight, or some people either go, "Hey, I wish I had a bike," or like, you know, motorcycles evoke an emotion. And when guys race and just watch them be competitive, it's unlike car racing in that, you know, the stakes are a little bit higher, a little more dangerous, and that's what, I mean, is the appeal. I mean, at least for me, I just love racing. I love watching. I love motorcycles. So you get, I mean, everything combined is what makes it for me. And for your fan, it depends on who the fan is. Some people, maybe it's the motorcycles, maybe it's the racing, but I really think it's a combination of everything combined. You got young guys, young cats, what, in their 20s. Most of them, you know, take away, give or take, a couple like Rossi, but if they're on their 20s, they're young kids, and they're going, you can't 120, I mean, 180, 90 miles an hour, handlebar to handlebar. I mean, you can't help but love that, man. I mean, it's the daring, it's the excitement. It's everything combined, and that's what makes GP. That's what I mean. At least for me, it does.
Yeah,
you know?
it's pretty incredible. The when I was at the track the other day in where were we? It was Mugello. We had, you know, Alonso was there from, you know, one of the Formula One races, and you know, it's pretty common now to see Formula One drivers and team managers turning up at the track, and I think there's been a lot of talk that MotoGP's got what Formula One doesn't. What do you think there?
Oh, I think we have more. I think F1 has the reputation, but if you take away that reputation, GP is a lot better than F1. And I love F1, but the racing's closer. And like I said, the stakes are higher if they have to screw up. Like in Formula One, they might spin out, but in GP, man, I mean, you know, I mean the danger factor is a little bit higher, and that's what makes it a little bit more of an appeal. And it's just better racing. I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, F1 is a snooze fest sometimes, man. I mean, it's great as far as like, it really is. I mean, if you watch the technical aspect, yeah, it's great. The cars are just, they're state of the art. It's like watching a science fair project. But when you get into the actual racing, you can't beat GP. I guarantee you, F1 had never had anything like what Mugello produced. I mean, Mugello, I'm still high on Mugello. That was the greatest weekend. I think the best weekend from that was probably Phillip Island. I mean, as far as like great races, but that was amazing. All three classes, you can't beat Mugello, and F1 cannot replicate that. They can say what they want. They go by reputation. They go by reputation, but if you break it down, they can't mess with GP, and they know it. Yeah, they know it.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting. So now America doesn't have a racer in the field. What do you think about that? Now Nicky's retired, well, not retired. He's moved off to World Superbike.
Yeah.
Do you think there's any American possibilities in the wings to get up on the circuit?
As far as GP goes, I think maybe Cameron Bobier, but he's kind of older. I mean, as far as getting into GP, he's gonna have to go. If he goes right now, he goes World Superbike maybe for a year or two, and then I don't think he's gonna make a factory ride, so he'll go into a satellite. That's our best bet for now. In the long run, we got kids. I think that Damon Jigalov, I think it is.
Yeah.
He's like 13, 14, and I like to see what that kid does. He's got to go overseas now, though, if he's gonna make GP. So. We always have somebody that we don't know about. And who also is the name? I mentioned it, Joe Roberts. Joe Roberts raced the Rookies Cup, the Red Bull Rookies Cup, and had moderate success. So, I don't know what it takes for him to get over there, but they got to get over there now. I see Joe Roberts try to do it. Definitely Cameron Bobier. At least race World Superbike for a year at least. And I like to see that happen. I mean, that's what we need. I mean, look at between us and even South Africa has Brad Bender. You know what I mean? I mean, they said one racer. We have nobody. So it's really sad that we have, as big as the United States is, we have no one representing us. It's sad. It really is.
Now, I can't let you say Brad Binder without talking about his performance at Le Mans. What did you think of that?
And honestly, dude, that was what we call. I mean, he broke their will after what he did, coming 31st, and he won that. I mean, honestly. and the rest of the field is done. Poor Jorge Navarro, he's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. He just, I mean, there's no way you can be racing handlebar to handlebar with Brad Binder in a race and thinking you're going to win it, because he came from 31st to win. So, and then he wins, what, 4 seconds?
I know, it's amazing.
So, I mean, he's in their head now. He's in their head. And the only person I see who can maybe go against him week to week and who's not intimidated is Fanati. I think Fanati is crazy enough that he can go against him. And don't count out Bulaga.
Yeah.
Bulaga stuff. And Bagnaia. Pecco Bagnaia, man. He's a tough kid. And he's always in the thick of things, and he's not afraid, man. That top 6 or 7 is not afraid of him. But I would say Fanati, Bagnaia, and maybe Bulaga, but poor Jorge Navarro, I think he's a head case now, man. I think he's done. I think Bender got in their head after Le Mans, and I think it's over. Yeah. I mean, that was a knockout punch right there. Before the break, that was a knockout punch. I mean, I like to see how they come back. I mean, he reminds me of Danny Kent in the sense of he's been there for so long. He's like the old man of Moto3, which is not a good thing to be, but that maturity pays off. It paid off for Danny Kent. It paid off for Sandro Cortese. So I think in the end you'll see him win the championship. So, but if anybody comes up, it'll be Fanati.
So when you look at some of the riders that have gone from Moto 3 up to Moto 2, like Danny Kent, for example, and he seems to be struggling this year. He just can't get that package to work for him. What do you think of that Moto 2 class? It's, some people call it almost like the curse class, where if you the bikes are also so much the same that if you don't rip it in the first year or so, you're done. You almost like you're better jumping it and going straight into MotoGP like Jack Miller did.
No, I disagree. I think Miller did a couple years in Moto 2. I really do. I think they did him a disservice, because I think Miller's aggressive, and that's what I love about him. But I think if he would have gone from Moto 3 to Moto 2 and then MotoGP, I think it would have paid off in the long run for him. I used to love Moto 2, and then I'm not gonna lie, like the last 2 years I was like, and now I'm back to loving Moto 2. I think Moto 2 is back to where it need to be. You got Baldassari, you got Folger, you got Renz, who is like Jorge Lorenzo Jr. You got and don't count the champion Zarco, man. Zarco's coming back. So Moto 2 is back. But I really think it does a disservice for them to go from Moto 3 to MotoGP. I think they're gonna. I'm gonna say it's not over yet. The book is not closed yet on Miller, but I think Miller would have done a better job if he'd have done Moto 2 first, then going straight to MotoGP.
That's interesting. So you're on this cruise ship now, and I saw the other day on Facebook you sold your motorcycle. That must have been a hard day. What's next?
I'm gonna tell you something. People hit me up and they would go, "Are you okay?" I had texts going, "Hey man, are you okay?" And they asked me like, "I know you sold your bike, man. Is everything gonna be all right?" I mean, they know how much I love my bike, but I'm going to get this new one, and to be honest, that's all I'm thinking about is this new bike. It's all I'm thinking about. I'm like a kid. Honestly, I am shirking all responsibility for bills being paid for the next 3 weeks. All I'm doing is I'm going to get this bike in the next 3 weeks. So all bills are not being paid. Nothing's being paid. I'm being irresponsible, but I'm going to get that bike.
What are you going to
do? And then I'm going to start paying off my bills. But from here on out, for the next 3 weeks, my goal is to get that bike.
And what bike? What'd you get? What are you choosing?
The Pikes Peak Multistrada.
Ah, wow. So you're going for a Ducati.
I've been saving up for 3 years for this bike.
Wow.
3 years for this bike. Yeah, so, I mean, honestly, dude, you have no idea. It's like having a mail-order bride. I can't wait till she gets here. I hope she pays up. I hope she's as beautiful in person as she was over the internet.
yeah, really.
So, yeah, man, I'm very excited. I can't wait.
Yeah. So when you're on the cruise ships and you're working, are most of the people that go on the cruises from America or Canada, or do you get them from all around the world?
No, just America. America and a couple Canadians. Canadians, because, it's always cold in Canada, so they don't have any water, so they got to come down here to have a good time. So it's mostly Americans and a couple Canadians sprinkled in.
So if you get to chat to some of the guests, I guess you do interact with them from time to time. Do you find that anyone knows what MotoGP is, or is it sort of like because sometimes I'll be talking to people in America and I go, "Oh, we're doing MotoGP," and they look at me like I've just lost my mind. Sounds like you've got a disease.
But it's the truth though, because every now and then I'll talk bikes with somebody, and then I'll say MotoGP, and they have a look like, MotoGP, and I go, MotoGP, and we'll just sit there and just geek out for like the next 20 minutes, and they'll usually be with a date, and they're going, honey, come on. But you can be talking about MotoGP, I'm there forever. So every now and then you get somebody who's really into bikes and knows what MotoGP is, and when that happens, man, yeah, we're talking for the next half an hour about GP. That happens very rarely, but when it does, man, I'm all over it like a bad suit.
Yeah, wow. So where's the cruise off to now? Where's the next port?
We're going on a 2-day cruise. We're going to Freeport, Nassau today. I mean, we're gonna leave today. We get there tomorrow and come back Sunday. It's a 2-day cruise. So
what do you do in 2 days? Just get on the grog.
I flew into Bermuda on Tuesday. We just got back today, and now we're gonna go to Freeport for 2 days. So, it's a job, man. It's a job.
Yeah, excellent. Well, have a great trip, mate.
Man, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having me on here. And next time we'll do a longer one, man. I'll be in my room and I'll show you how I live like a 16-year-old. I literally got motorcycle posters on my wall. As a grown man, I got motorcycle posters on my wall in my room. So next time we'll do it in my room in my house.
What'd be interesting is maybe each week, after each race, we connect with you and get BT's take on the race. That might be cool.
That'd be great, man. Yes. I'll be on a cruise ship, but I know we dock, so yeah, we'll do that. That sounds good. Keep in touch, and we'll try to work it out.
Okay, see you, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
See you, man. Bye.